right, how's the market doing today? Pretty green. How about the Bitcoin miners? Oh. Well, looks like another regular day for the Bitcoin miners. Hello everybody, we got a pretty red day going on here. Bitcoin slightly down, the Bitcoin miners tanking, just another day. Welcome to the Bitcoin mining space. Come on in, the sentiment is fine. Not. Bitcoin is just hanging around 95k, a little bit down to start this Monday, continuing to get rejected on its 50 MA, and it has been doing this for an entire month. Also continuing to face resistance on this descending trend line. We have had times like this in the past where Bitcoin has been under the 50 MA for about a month, continuing to get rejected on it, for instance. And we did see this back here in late 2024 around a bunch of Mt. Gox fear. After Bitcoin hit a new all-time high, suddenly the market became fearful. Suddenly Bitcoin went from 74,000 to a low of 49,000. In hindsight, these were great buying opportunities while there was fear in the bull cycle, that is the 4-year cycle. And not only last year was Bitcoin under the 50 MA, but it was also under the 200 MA, finding it as resistance before finally breaking over it. Speaking of the 200 MA, it is at an all-time high. We have never seen the 200 MA at these levels. We have never seen the 200 MA over 80,000. And while we are consolidating, while we are seeing the 50 MA remaining under it for a little while, the 200 MA is still rising, despite this 3 months of sideways action, essentially. There has been a little bit of fear in Bitcoin lately, seeing some outflows from the spot ETFs. Of course, last week was the largest hack in history, $1.5 billion hacked from Ethereum. But it's not nothing but bad news from Bitcoin. We also have some good news here. Michael Saylor of Strategy, previously known as Microstrategy, he bought some more Bitcoin. And now Strategy controls over 2% of the Bitcoin supply. And check this out. You guys might remember last week how the $2 billion convertible note offering was announced. He confirmed that investors fully subscribed to this offering. The company immediately deployed the capital into Bitcoin. And MicroStrategy now holds a hair under 500,000 Bitcoin, more than 2% of all the Bitcoin that there will ever be. Now it says here at the end of this article that Michael Saylor was at the CPAC in Washington trying to urge the country to adopt a Bitcoin strategy, stating that the US should acquire 20% of the Bitcoin network. And he argued that only one country could command the supply, and it should be the US. Now let's hop over to some bad news. Montana's House holds off on the Bitcoin reserve bill. It's dead. What do you mean it's dead?
Wait. What do you mean it's dead?
What do I mean? The battery's dead. The battery's dead.
What do you mean the battery's dead?
How can I explain this to you differently? The battery is dead. It ceased to live. It's deceased now.
Check this out. The opposition was dominated by fears about the risk to taxpayer money or speculation. Most lawmakers voted against the bill, 59 against and 41 for it. Now there were some reasons for rejection. Representative Stephen Kelly captured a core concern. It's still taxpayer money. We're still responsible for it. We need to protect it. These type of investments are way too risky. I think it was a Spider-Man movie, Uncle Ben saying, with great risk comes great reward. Or wait. Maybe it was great power comes great responsibility or something like that. But I think this still applies. With great risk comes great reward. When you look at Bitcoin from its inception and you see how it performs cycle to cycle, is that risk really that high? Now there was a congressman with a counter argument. Representative Lee Deming said Montana should do its best to maximize taxpayer dollars. If we're going to keep the taxpayers' money, I think we owe it to the taxpayers to get as high of a return on that money that's sitting in there. Either that or you give it right back to them. This is the angle that sees Bitcoin as some possible investment vehicle that could exceed established investments such as bonds. Now while Montana's bill is dead, Utah is actually making some progress. HB 230, or Blockchain and Digital Innovation Amendments, which is an initiative in Utah, is making its way through the Senate Revenue and Taxation Committee. After that, a second and then a third reading, followed by a final vote in the Senate. We do have recent news of a second Bitcoin bill for Georgia. 10 days after proposing their first bill, we have this new Bitcoin Reserve Bill SB 228, allowing the state to invest in Bitcoin without any investment restrictions. The previous one had restrictions. That previous bill that was mentioned 10 days ago has the backing of Republicans, while this most recent bill is backed by Democrats. I guess the Democrats thought the Republicans weren't bullish enough. Here it goes. Can we expect or hope for the left and the right to get along and agree on something for once? Or are they both going to be against each other's respective bills? It'd be nice to see them work for the people and not for their own interests. Come together, work together for once. Bitcoin is not blue or red, it is orange. Combine those colors and I think you'll get orange. Pretty sure. We also have a Florida bill recently announced. filed by Senator Joe Gruters. If successful, the state will begin to invest its public funds into Bitcoin. Look at this. We have states talking about inflation. Senate Bill 550. This bill states that inflation has already reduced the purchasing power of assets held and managed by the state's chief financial officer. The loss of value is detrimental to the state's financial stability, economic security, and negatively affects its residents and taxpayers. While Florida has no control over federal monetary policy that affect inflation, SB 550 states that Florida has a responsibility to protect its resources against inflation. It does limit the amount of public funds to 10%. And this bill notes that several countries already hold Bitcoin, and already that Bitcoin's a good choice because its value has risen significantly enough that the asset has become an accepted medium of international exchange. Not only that, but, BlackRock, the largest company in terms of assets under management, they're bullish on Bitcoin. They have their own Bitcoin ETF. Pretty much says everything you need to know. Speaking of the spot ETFs, they have broken records. Wall Street loves Bitcoin. Bitcoin is only going to get bigger and bigger in time. Once you understand Bitcoin, it becomes extremely easy. It has a finite supply. Our fiat currency has an endless supply. Hard assets benefit from inflation. Bitcoin is a hard asset. Bitcoin is a rare asset. In the end, Microstrategy will continue to accumulate Bitcoin. In the end, these Bitcoin miners are continuing to hodl more and more Bitcoin. The people feeling very negative about Bitcoin, negative about the Bitcoin miners. Do you guys remember what it was like in August, September, when Bitcoin ran all the way down to 49K? The Bitcoin miners sold off. Do you remember what happened to them within a month later? You can take opportunities like this and buy. You can take times like this and sell. In the end, that is up to you. I still do see these Bitcoin miners, MicroStrategy, outperforming Bitcoin to cycle top. If you believe the top is in, then I understand you don't want to invest in the Bitcoin miners and MicroStrategy into Bitcoin. But if you think Bitcoin will follow its cycle, if you think Bitcoin will benefit from the massive money printing going on, the M2 global expansion, how could you be bearish at these low prices? Thanks as always for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.